Last time I filmed in this position, I was having a mental breakdown. Where did I put the book? Are we still having a mental breakdown? I don't know. Picnic at Hanging Rock. I'm so looking forward to reading this book. I read the introduction yesterday and my dad was watching TikToks, so I couldn't focus and continue reading. But we're here now and we're very excited. Stories about Australia, especially from Victoria, get me so excited. I didn't know about this until we would start studying it for literature, but I know it is right up my alley, and so I'm really excited to start reading. Just a quick disclaimer, this book is set in 1900, and according to the introduction, it does not acknowledge Indigenous Australians. So while I'm still excited to read this book, I'm still going to try and be mindful that it is a very, very Western perspective, of course, and I have to read it anyway because we're doing it for literature. Through Misa on TikTok, I found this really educational website called Creative Spirit. It has been my go-to place for learning about Indigenous Australians. Some of you might know every time I upload a video, I will read an educational article and link it down below along with it, and most of the time these articles come from Creative Spirit. I will have Creative Spirit's link down below if you'd like to learn along with me. I really hope I'm doing the right thing here, and if I'm not, I would really appreciate any feedback or criticisms. But without further ado, let us begin Picnic at Hanging Rock. Good morning, everyone. The camera is so shaky, I'm very sorry. This morning I finished off reading chapter 1 of Picnic at Hanging Rock. I really liked it. To me, it kind of has the same energy of like a Turn of the Screw-esque book where everything's really nice, the setting's really calm, and it's described as like perfect, but there's something underlying that's gonna go wrong. They're currently on their way to the rock. Reading this, it brings me back to school excursions on really hot days. There is something so specific about driving in Australia on a hot day, and I'm really glad that I know what that feels like. I also love the all-girls boarding school trope. I've always been really excited by premises like St. Trinian's and all of that, so yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And thus concludes chapter 3. I'm really liking this. I don't know how else to describe it other than that it is precisely like a dream. Time stopping, not everything is explained clearly, you seem to drift from plot point to plot point. The way the environment is described and how the girls just react to it. And it's almost like they're not even reacting, they're just going along with what's happening. It's like the surroundings have like enchanted them. It's really interesting and it's really messed up and I love it. I'm really into that sort of stuff, so it's, yeah, I'm really enjoying this book. I want to keep reading, but I've got to go get ready. It's 3 AM. We're 5 chapters in. I'm gonna hazard a guess that Edith did it. Okay, so I've been reading for most of the afternoon. I'm currently in the middle of chapter 9. I'm finding it really strange because it's reading very much like a very old classic book, but it was published in the 60s. I think that's mostly due to the omniscient third person narrative perspective. I think that's what it's called. So you don't just get like one person's perspective, you get like, you jump. So you know what everyone's thinking at all times, which is kind of trippy. I've bookmarked a couple of pages with quotes that I found really cool. I very much believe that books come into your life sometimes at very coincidental times, shall we say. So I bookmarked this quote. All my life I've been doing things because other people said they were the right things to do. This time I'm going to do something because I say so, even if you and everyone else thinks I'm mad. And then the second one I highlighted was when Mike is walking through the forest. His head, on the contrary, was less like a head than an air balloon tethered somewhere above his aching shoulders. I found that really interesting because I've been trying to pinpoint why I find this book so intriguing and strangely familiar to read. It feels like the presence of the Hanging Rock and everything around it, it almost encapsulates how it feels to be dissociated with derealization. It's like this dreamlike state, and I've said in videos before how I feel like I'm up here when I'm spaced out, and that quote just reminded me of a head being tethered to a body. But yeah, I'm mostly enjoying it, I think. I'm surprised I don't really have any passionate feelings for it, any passionate opinions. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it and I think I want to try and finish it tonight, but I'll see how we go. Okay, so Anyway, so we didn't finish the book last night, but I do have about 50 pages left, so I'm going to give it a crack now and see if we can finish it off. Let's go! Okay, we're on the final 10 pages. Oh no. Oh my god! Ugh. Okay, chapter 17 is like a short newspaper extract. We're almost done. Oh my god, that's horrid! Ew. I really liked that. It definitely dipped a bit in the middle, like it was getting on a bit, but the ending brought it back. Oh, I've got goosebumps. I'm gonna fix the lighting and then I'm gonna talk about it. Like, my arm hairs are actually standing up. Like, I've got goosebumps. So, a picnic at Hanging Rock. Ew. That's the thing, you see, is throughout reading this, I've been trying to think of ways to describe to someone who has not read it how the book feels, like the atmosphere of the book, and I'm really struggling. Like, it's as if all the events in the book take place in this dreamscape and you have no idea what's real or what's not. The author, she does this thing where she metaphorically describes thoughts and feelings of the rock coming back to the girls, but does it very literally. For example, they see the walls of the gymnasium fading into an exquisite transparency, the ceiling opening up like a flower into the brilliant sky above the hanging rock. The shadow of the lock is flowing, luminous as water across the shimmering plain, etc. So she's talking about how they're in one setting, but then the setting around them physically transforms into the rock. We know it doesn't, but that's how their mentality is, and it's so creepy. It's so creepy. I am getting a lot of Ari Aster's Midsummer energy from this. Like, it's definitely nowhere near as violent, some bits are, but like it's nowhere near as like mentally draining as the film, but just like the subtle like, oh, something's wrong here. I really enjoyed this. Like I said, I was struggling a bit in the middle, like not much was going on, but yeah, that's a really screwed up ending and I'm confused. Okay, I'm gonna talk about my theory that I've developed about what happened, so if you don't want spoilers, please go away. Thank you for watching, I'll see you in the next video. Okay, my theory. I think Sarah is Albert's sister because they both grew up in the orphanage and it's never like stated, but it's like kind of wink wink nudge nudge implied, I feel. I think Mrs. Appleyard killed Sarah. I think she has the basket in her room. I reckon she threw her out the window, couldn't handle it, and didn't want to be caught, so that's why she jumped off the rock. As for what actually happened to the three girls, I don't know. I mean, I believe that Edith can't remember anything, but I don't believe that Irma doesn't remember everything. I don't trust her. There's a scene where Edith accuses Irma of killing them or something along those lines. I can't quite remember it, but Edith's like, come on Irma, just admit what you did, we saw it, and it like came out of nowhere. That's why I find it so weird, because the scene in the gymnasium is so scary. It's like one of the scariest scenes in the book because all the girls just snap at Irma and then like it's forgotten about. They all go to dinner and no one mentions it. So I don't know whether to trust what Edith said there. I don't know if there's something malicious behind it or the rock itself is malicious and it's the setting that sort of consumes people. You know, their watches are stopping and it's like this like hellscape almost. This is so interesting. Oh my gosh. I don't know, Chief. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. The school teacher, Greta McCraw, I forgot about her. What happened to her? What the heck? That's somehow why I feel like the setting is the driving factor behind these characters going missing, because you see like this logical woman, as they keep describing her, being like drawn into the forest for some reason, running around in her undies for some reason, and then never being seen again. And I think the same thing happens to Mike, like he's drawn into the forest or the rock or whatever. I love the omniscient perspective. It's really cool. She keeps mentioning how little things and little decisions cause drastic changes. It really reminded me of that book, The Sun Is Also a Star. I haven't read it for a long time, but I remember really liking it because you got to see into the lives of everyone around the protagonist and how that the little decisions that they made affected her life drastically, and I just find that concept really interesting, and it was really big in here. I think there is maybe not a malicious force, but a very strong force within the rock perhaps that has been leaking out. I feel like it took over the girls almost, and since then it's affected people and sort of leached out into the world around it, like the fire that killed Dora Lumley and her brother, and then causing Miss Appleyard to go insane, and then obviously there's another fire at the college that burns it down. But then it also has like positive effects, like we see Irma come back, and then her dad gives Albert a lot of money to set him up for life, which allows Irish Tom and Minnie to come and live at Lakeview. It has a very strong ripple effect around it, both positive and negative, and I find that really interesting. I don't know, I found this book so fascinating. It's really cool. If you've read it, please let me know down below. We can have a good chat. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to go and talk to my friends about this in literature. This could be bonkers. Oh my god, I loved it. I loved it. Anyway, that'll be all from me. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.